From the KCRS studios, this is the Richard Smith Show, where we talk about all things Kansas City Chiefs, brought to you by Arrowhead Update. Check me out on iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, SoundCloud, Spreaker, Player FM, and all third-party applications. How are we doing, Chiefs Kingdom? It is Wednesday, April 24th at 8:28 a.m. Let's talk Chiefs. Today I want to talk about Brett Veach. And the next thing I want to ask you, Kansas City, is do you want to be the general manager of the Kansas City Chiefs? Because there have been quite a bit of complaints about what Brett Veach is doing here. And I'm kind of disturbed a little bit by some of the things that I see these people saying. And do you want to be the GM? Because let me tell you this. In all my years being a fan, in all my years studying football, and now my years commentating somewhat, podcasts, announcing, broadcasting, whatever you want to call this, one thing that I've learned in football is you never give anyone the keys to a Ferrari when they've never even ridden a bike. So while everybody out there has something to say about Brett Veach, let me say something about Brett Veach. The man was hired as the general manager July 10th, 2017, right after the 2016 season. Brett Veach had already been in the NFL 12 years. Brett Veach took over a team with Alex Smith, Spencer Ware, Jeremy Maclin, Travis Kelce, Marcus Peters, Eric Berry, Derek Johnson, with a team that still had Dontari Poe. Look, that wasn't a bad roster, and we were ranked pretty high that year. In 2016, I think we were ranked like 5th in the league defensively. But here's the situation. Our defense is old, extremely old. At some point, we had to make a transition. That transition started last year. It started last year. We started getting rid of some of our older players, Tom Lees and Derek Johnsons, and continued into this year with Justin Houston and Derek Johnson and D. Ford. It's no surprise to me that it was time for a transition. So, if I look at our roster now compared to our roster then, we have made some significant improvements. We don't even have the same starting quarterback, running back, wide receiver, defensive end, cornerback. We basically have a brand new roster. So let me give you all the rundown of our roster now. Patrick Mahomes is our starting quarterback. Carlos Hyde, mark my words, will be our starting running back. Tyreek Hill, Sammy Watkins, Travis Kelce. Not to mention our O-line. You all know who every single one of those players are. On our defense, welcome to Kansas City, Frank Clark. Everybody needs to quit complaining about that. It's a perfect fit. Let's say Frank Clark, Chris Jones, Emmanuel Ogbah, Alex Okafor, Derek Nottie, Xavier Williams, Anthony Hitchens, Reggie Ragland, Dorian O'Daniel, Braylon Speaks, Brashad Braylon, Traymon Smith, the Honey Badger, Daniel Sorensen, and Armani Watts. So, with that being said, what are y'all talking about? This man took us to our first AFC Championship game at Arrowhead last season, one play away from a Super Bowl. If there was one guy who hadn't been lined up in the neutral zone, D. Ford, no longer on our team, we had that Super Bowl in check. It was locked in. We were headed to Atlanta. So now we want to transform our defense that was ranked 29th in 2016, 31st in 2017, and 31st and 2018. Why would we not transform that? When we have an offense in 2016 that was ranked 5th, we have offense in 2017 that was ranked 2nd, and lo and behold, in 2018, our offense was ranked number 1. We went 12-4 in 2016. We went 10-6 in 2017, and we went 12-4 in 2018, reaching the playoffs all 3 years, mind you. And going deeper into the playoffs, the more years Brett Veach was at the helm of the Kansas City Chiefs. So again, I ask you, what are you all talking about? And how can you not see how Brett Veach is the best thing that's happened to Kansas City in like 30 years? I'm sorry, Kansas City. I don't agree with a lot of the opinions that you all are throwing out here. I love Chiefs Kingdom. I love everything about it. But I'm defending Brett Veach because this is ridiculous. $100 million? Hey, we're still $22 million over our cap space. $22 million. $105.5 million over 5 years. And we're still $22 million over our cap space. Yes, we still have players to play. Players to pay. We do have to pay Patrick Mahomes. We will have to pay Tyreek Hill. Look, here's the thing. As I keep hearing people say, well, we're on a win now scenario. Why wouldn't we be? Are you like, yeah, we're on a win now scenario. We're on a win now scenario for the next decade. Why wouldn't you go out and put every piece you have, to spend every amount of money you possibly could without doing something so insanely bogus that doesn't make any sense to win a Super Bowl next year? We have a quarterback where we can win the Super Bowl every single year. Put every piece around him every year. Yeah, we're on a win now scenario. Of course we are. I didn't feel that way with Alex Smith. I felt exactly how I felt the last 30 years being a Chiefs fan that I felt when Alex Smith was our starting quarterback. Well, it's the same old Chiefs. That's how I felt. That's not how I feel about Patrick Mahomes. I'm not scared of any team. Like I said in the broadcast before, we could play the New England Patriots 16 games in a row. All 16 games, and I say we make the playoffs. That's how confident I am in the Chiefs. And you all should be too. And Brett Veach. And this new defensive scheme. It's a whole new scheme. Steve Spagnuolo is a defensive genius, just like Andy Reid is on the offense. You guys, I'm telling you, just watch. This is fun. This is fun. I know it's freaking Chiefs Kingdom out, but this is going to be an awesome season. Watch these boys go nuts. But y'all don't understand, okay? Look at the highlight film of Frank Clark. Watch the highlight film of Frank Clark from last year. It's 15 minutes long. Look, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers whole highlight reel for 2018 is not 15 minutes long. Okay, every single player, we went out and got all of them, including all the ones last year. Anthony Hitchens, Reggie Ragland, all those guys from last year that we picked up. They were picked up to put in this system. All these boys, look, they are all over the field. All over the field, relentless, like Derek Thomas style. Every single player that we picked up is like that. Watch the film. Frank Clark, they loved this guy in Seattle. They called him the sack master. Okay? Alex Okafor, they called him the hammer for the Saints. Like, I don't understand. Look, guys, we got some badass talent. Anthony Hitchens, they love that guy in Dallas. He fits the system. Just watch us explode. Y'all are tripping. I'm just saying. Y'all got to calm down. Watch things progress, because this is going to be super fun, Kansas City, where we have a young team. I wish I would have... Dustin Colquitt is probably the oldest player on our team. He's an old guy. But other than that, I mean, who is it, Travis Kelce? 29, 30? Look, the average... I guarantee you the average age on our team right now is probably like 25. That's a huge deal. The motors in these guys are still strong. That's what we need in Kansas City, especially on defense. You know why we need strong motors on defense? Because they're going to be on the field a lot. A lot. With our offense flying up and down the field like it is, these guys, we need young guys. Think about it, Kansas City. Yes, I love our old school players, and I love the guys that have been in Kansas City for years. But they don't have the motor to keep up with a Patrick Mahomes-led offense. They're going to be on the field a lot. Keep that in mind, Kansas City. You know Brett Veach knows that. The man's not stupid. Just trust the front office. Trust Andy Reid. Well, we can't get over that hump. Andy Reid won't win a Super Bowl. Well, with Brett Veach, I bet he will. With Patrick Mahomes, I bet he will. We got the best quarterback possibly ever in the history of football. Chill out, Kansas City. It's okay to experiment on defense when you got a quarterback like that. But the awesome thing is, this isn't even, we're not experimenting. This is Spagnuolo saying, I got this. I know the players I want. Brett Veach is standing right behind him being like, all right, tell me what you need. Let's go get them. And that's what he did. Stop complaining, Kansas City. All right, stop complaining. I hope y'all have a great week. It is hump day, so y'all got a couple more days in the work week. And I told y'all there'd probably be some Chiefs news. And who knows, with $22 million left in the salary cap, we might go after someone else. So we'll see what happens, Kansas City. From the KCRS studios, this is Richard Smith. This is the Richard Smith Show, where we talk about all things Kansas City Chiefs. Brought to you by Arrowhead Update. Check me out on iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, SoundCloud, Spreaker, and Player FM, and all third-party applications. Have a great day, Kansas City.